Only a week away from the release of the Indigo Disc DLC, and we've gotten a brand new trailer that tells us a whole lot while not showing us anything at all. So the new trailer begins with some hints toward the story elements, showing the entrance to Area Zero and diving right in, giving us a little bit of a taste of what lies even farther beyond the surface. The music continues to build until finally it stops and we see a tree. A Pokemon fan's greatest enemy. But really, even though it looks like just a tree, there's a lot to say here. The symbolism and meaning that a tree could have potentially applies a lot going forward concerning the story and lore that we're looking into. A tree symbolizes life and beginning. It grows from a single seed and branches upward and outward. From the footage, it doesn't look like this is necessarily the deepest part of Area Zero, maybe just above a massive room overflowing with crystals where Terapagos is hiding. At the very least, this is an important place, because later in the trailer when we see the protagonist terrestrializing their Pokemon, presumably for an important battle, we see the tree right behind them. This could be a different tree, there could be multiple, but with how this was lingered on as a stinger, I think it might be safe to assume there's only one down here. Literally, this tree could be meant as an outward manifestation of the crystal energy building underground. It could be the point from which the crystals come from, spreading across the entire region of Paldea like a system of roots, from which also sprout the Herba Mystica that we collected in the main story. That does tie into another literal use of trees, that being the means of bearing fruit. And guess what, we have a mysterious little peach floating around somewhere that we've already visually connected to another crystalline Pokemon, that being Glimmora. And I can't believe I didn't make this connection before, but Glimmora is just straight up a flower, the parts of a tree that precede fruit. The entire region of Paldea is this tree's domain. What we see here is the source of it all. That's why we see a bunch of Glimmora on the walls of caves connected to the veins that run throughout the region, sprouting like flowers. And with Terra Crystals now appearing in Kitakami, the tree network could even just be reaching all the way over there, which is kinda scary to think about. Trees also represent a meeting between heaven and earth, with roots planted firmly in the ground and branches touching the sky. Very symbolic of where Heath could have first met Terapagos, a strange being with immense power. Heath being given the knowledge written down in his journal that would eventually lead to the creation of the time machine and basically everything else in the story, was effectively a higher being coming down and bestowing him with knowledge.
The tree of knowledge of good and evil.
And considering other stories of heaven and earth meeting and trees of knowledge, this might not end well.
I'm sorry if I startled you. Where's Adam?
If there genuinely is that connection between the Peach Pokemon, Glimmora, the Terra Crystals, a tree, then that means we have the Forbidden Fruit just running around and seemingly giving people and Pokemon what they want, but actually dooming them in the end. I don't really know how much our funny looking friend will really tie into Area Zero, especially with it apparently also being tied to Kieran's story and development, but the final visual of the trailer almost hints at these siblings being present in Area Zero alongside the player and Briar. Though this could be a cool visual representation, but we'll have to wait and see. At the very least, the tree feels like the exact puzzle piece we need that fits in with the other plant elements that have been building. I guess Brassius was really onto something. Check out Kayla's recent video on Artisan and Area Zero if you want even more mind-blowing revelations. You know, this whole relation to the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil mostly started as a joke, kind of crackpot theory stuff, but I realized that it actually kind of makes a little bit of sense. Especially now as I'm looking at Area Zero as this place where a bunch of various creatures live in peace, and it's kind of a paradise. In fact, there is the Paradise Protection Protocol that we see in the game. I do also want to give a shout out to Not So Ace Trainer, who did a video on this. I'm sorry I didn't watch it, but I saw it was in my sub feed 6 days ago. 6 days ago, curious. So yeah, now that we're actually getting a tree, it seems like it is definitively like, yeah, the little final piece that we needed to bring everything together. Okay, I've thrown out a few initial ideas about just the tree, and I'm not even that deep into the trailer. I'll stick a bookmark in this for now, because with the actual game update releasing in 1 week, I'll have even more answers to work with once I actually play the story. So for now, the trailer continues by giving us a brief recap of the Teal Mask before jumping into our studies at Blueberry Academy. And my boy Totodile is ready to learn. Oh, and never mind, his ass is not learning. We see even more environments inside the terrarium and the Pokemon that live there before being introduced to Blueberry quests, which involves even more exploration and us finally getting to see Ditto as a goofy shapeshifter beyond just being the typical Pokemon imposter. We then also get a look at a gameplay mechanic that sees us taking control of a Pokemon to further explore the terrarium. Pokepark 3 confirmed. It looks like this is something restricted to only the electric rodent Pokemon, as they're the only ones we see running around, and that might make sense to keep things from getting too crazy. But I mean, every Pokemon in the game has a running animation programmed in, so more might be possible. These are all focused on as the co-op experience, giving us even more to do with friends once the update drops. This is called synchronizing and can be done through a synchro machine.
Synchro what?
We then also get to see more of the gym leaders popping into the club room, which we had known about before, but now there's a bit more footage of how they'll be able to interact with each other and trade some Pokemon and show up for a rematch, leading into the confirmation that throwing styles will be returning. A lot of great information packed into one little section that is of course expanded upon in the official website. I'm so very glad that we'll get to see even more of Larry and Iono and finally get some more customization options. We're also told that the legendary Pokemon from previous games will be returning, and that's pretty expected to make sure they stay available as the games continue coming out. Though the way in which we do this seems to be less extravagant compared to space warping of past generations, and instead they'll be lured in with snacks. I'm curious as to how I'll be able to explain this in canon, but glad we're able to keep getting these legendary Pokemon. It's a necessity in terms of mechanics. Finally getting to see more battles with the League members, we also get our first look at Kieran's new hairdo, and it is very purple. We knew his hair was purple underneath, but I just didn't expect it to look like this when tied up, though I really should have seen it coming. The craziest part is that the shape kind of resembles a fruit, which again, from the theories concerning a certain unrevealed PG Pokemon that we've been talking about for the past few months, makes way too much sense. It all is really tying everything together, but I am really surprised we got the reveal already. I mean, this look was something totally predictable, and all the big reveals are no doubt still hidden away, so there'll be a lot to discover when actually playing the DLC. Again, I've already put out most of my theories for Kieran and had this video front loaded with all the tree talk, and most of all at this point I just want the hard facts that we'll be getting next week. Lastly, we get some more footage of what we've already known until there's one brief scene showing a mysterious red-haired character. She appears to be a student at the school, though the camera angle and the expression of the protagonist's face present her as someone important. Maybe this is some additional side quest that's being teased, but if she becomes another important character to the main story, I can't wait to see who she is. The trailer's rounded out with even more of Area Zero, showing Koraidon and Miraidon. This is probably an important story beat that requires us to have them in our party. And then we get another glimpse at Terapagos and the weird shenanigans it'll be doing, but I think a lot of this, while being new footage, doesn't really give us a lot to go off of, aside from the strange way it turns around and goes inside its shell. This might be part of an attack animation, but it looks so strange, I love it. Almost like one of those indescribable heavenly beings that once again brings it all back to the most interesting thing from the trailer, a big tree. And that is all I've really got to say about the final trailer for Pokemon's Indigo Disc DLC. A great showcase of what's to come, and you can guarantee I'll be diving into everything once it actually releases. If you've got any ideas or theories about where we're going from here, drop them in the comments below and let me know which Pokemon you're most excited to see in either the Blueberry Academy or the deepest depths of Area Zero. Anyway, I've got to get started on packing wheelie for Unova in less than a week. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators: Alex Swiss, Cheeseburger Lasers, DeAndre, Dunkachino II, Jen Eric, Cosmo Zero, Justin Dowes, Justin R, Meme Supreme, Nomad Nobi, Phantom, Pio the Genius, Quago, Tajrai, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you would like to support, get a shout out here as well as access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter for more memes and Twitch for more streams. Anyway, this is Gatorex, and I'll catch you all later.
Start your adventure together in the Pokemon trading card game Scarlet and Violet. Coming soon. Products sold separately, cards vary by pack.